this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and today we are going to do an overview of the Altar of Embers adventure. Alright, so today I wanted to do something a little different. We're going to do a DCC RPG compatible and talk about the Altar of Embers, which is my upcoming pamphlet adventure. Before we get into it, if you find this video interesting, entertaining, or otherwise beneficial in your life, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Additionally, this is a Patreon reward, so if you want to support Breaker Press further, you can become a patron. This month's reward will be the Altar of Embers. So if you become if you find this adventure interesting, and you'd like a copy, you could become a patron, or you can order it through the Breaker Press web store when it goes up later today. It'll be on DriveThruRPG, itch.io, as well as eventually be available through the Goodman Games web store. So, all of that being said, let's break it down. So, this adventure is something that I originally wrote. Oh no! Oh, I closed the thing. Why did I close the thing? There we go. Okay. So this was an adventure that I originally wrote for one of my players, Jordan, who wanted a leveling up montage. They heard that I had written The Protector to Genulane as a leveling up montage, and there was leveling up stuff in Hillwood Camp, and they wanted something like that for themselves. They had a fire wizard that they were really attached to, and they wanted to have that experience. And so I decided to put something together for them, and so that became the bones of what became this adventure. So let me scroll this down and let's talk about it. So this adventure leads in with the Forsaken Crags. The Forsaken Crags is a section of the Mangled Hills that has been split off because of the Stennard River, so they have slightly different properties and different names, but essentially a part of the same set of hills. Now, the Forsaken Crags, it has a bit of block text, read aloud text that you can give to your player or players, and then a thing for the judge that gives you a little bit of context, and then it gets into quest setups. Now, I should note before we get any further, if you are planning on playing this, this is going to be just spoiler after spoiler after spoiler after spoiler. So if that matters to you, don't go any further. But let's get into it. Quest setups. So I wanted to give this adventure some flexibility, and so I wanted to give the original intent, which was the leveling up montage for a fire wizard, fire elementalist in the case of the standard setting and my class guides. But Born of Cinder, the first quest setup is essentially the fire elemental patron Gristgriz, the Great Immolator, is speaking to a PC through flames such as the common fire in the town of Stennard or in Hillwood Camp or some other flames. And so there's actually a little section at the end. It says whispers in the fire, and these are some of the things that Gristgriz could be saying to them to draw them towards the exploring this cave in the Forsaken Crags. So, but Born of Cinder, the whole idea is that they go through a series of trials in order to get to the Altar of Embers, and when they get to the Altar of Embers, they are then able to imbue themselves with the power of Gristgriz or some other elemental patron. The next quest setup is the Winged Predator Arat. Now, any good sacred location is going to have a guardian, and so Arat represents that guardian. They are a fire wizard that has succumbed to corruption after corruption to the point that they are no longer recognizable as human. They are just this ravenous beast, and so Arat has spells. They are able to obviously bite to attack or attack with their talons. They've got the head of a fire ant, the body of a fire bat, and the talons of a falcon. But the nearby farmers or herders are upset because there's this beast that has been stealing their sheep and their goats, and so they petition the PCs to go and do something about this menacing beast. So that is the winged predator Arat. And then finally, we've got purged of corruption. We have a herder that loses one of their goats, and they go to find their goat, and the goat has wandered up into this cave, and they themselves end up wandering out of the cave covered in blisters and not understanding what is wrong. They're like, this is a place of chaos and evil, and it must be destroyed. And so they get back and they tell the PCs of this experience that they've had, and that the only way that they can be freed of their curse is by the PCs going back and destroying this place. Now, before we get into the breakdown of the individual encounters, one thing that I should say that is not explicitly mentioned in the pamphlet, because pamphlets don't have a lot of space, is that if you're running a full group of PCs, you're going to want to give Arat some sort of minions, whether it is fire ants or fire bats or cultists, but essentially, if you want to do this as more of a full party type adventure, you're going to want to have more than just Arat, because Arat is a little squishy. So that being said, let's talk about the map and the individual encounter areas. Now, we start off with the Ascent, and the Ascent is that first trial that the PC is going to have to go through, or the PCs will have to go through, and that is climbing a cliff face. Now, it is not that difficult of a cliff face, but there are two routes. One is more difficult but faster. The other is less difficult. So DC 10 versus DC 7, but the DC 7 route takes longer to do because you're basically swinging wide and then coming back. And this is important because at the very start of the adventure, your judge is going to roll 2d6 plus 2, and that is how many rounds the PC has before Arat comes back, because Arat is currently hunting above the Forsaken Crags, unaware of the PC's presence, but eventually is going to want to return to their nest. And so this gives a timer, essentially, that the PCs understand that, and I would as a judge let them know, okay, all right, this action ticks down 1, this ticks down 1, this ticks down 1, and let the PC know that that this beast is eventually coming back. Light a fire under their ass. All right, so that being said, so the that first encounter is a soft trial, but the important part is that there's a chance that they could roll really poorly, and it could cause the death of the PC, so they're going to want to burn luck. And the whole point of this encounter is to burn down some of that luck. Managing those resources. So then we go to the cave mouth. Encounter number 2, cave mouth, is just an evocative scene to set up going into the cavern. And then number 3 is natural staircase. Natural staircase is of no threat to a PC that is going in, but if they try to run back out, it is a trap. And so it's not the most difficult of traps, but the idea is to add a little bit of tension in that Indiana Jones, running out of the temple in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You'll notice that when I write stuff, there's a lot of that opening scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark embedded in a lot of my stuff. All right, so let's move on to encounter area number 4, the small cavern. So the small cavern is another evocative location. The idea is the PC wanders into this space. There's a bunch of charred bones and skulls laying all around, and then there are cave paintings, and the cave paintings depict a column of fire and a bunch of people worshiping it. If the PC rummages through the bones, they are going to find a piece of obsidian, and that piece of obsidian is a key, but they won't necessarily know that right off the bat, but they will understand its shape because it is a triangular column. This then ties into blackened stone. There's a big blackened stone that has a triangular recess that blocks a narrow passage, and they can feel heat emanating from the area. Essentially, they just need to take that column of obsidian and insert it into the thing, and it will cause the stone to roll. If you've got multiple PCs, this is also a potential trap, because the boulder will roll to the right. And so if there's somebody standing to the right, they will be at slight risk of being crushed by the boulder and breaking a bone. All right, and so then we go to 6, Urrat's Lair. Urrat's Lair, sweltering cavern. Since Urrat is up flying around, there is no immediate risk here, and there's a bunch of baubles in the nesting area, and there's a little random roll table. And then finally, if they got past the blackened stone, then they get to the altar of embers, and this is the holy grail of the adventure, the whole reason why they are there. You've got this altar, which is essentially like a hearth or an oven, and then there is a series of brands, and the brands all represent different sigils that represent different spells. And so the PC is then encouraged to brand themselves in order to retain these spells. And so that is their way of leveling up and learning their first level spells or second level spells, or spells at second level, not second level spells. And so I list 5 different spells. 3 of them are from my Sorceress Rites of the Elements, the Immolating Grasp, Moths to the Flame, and Torchlight. And then there are 2 from the core book, Flaming Hands and Choking Cloud. But if you don't have Sorceress Rites of the Elements, it does not explicitly state this, but I would recommend, Resistance to Fire, Cantrip, things like that, in order to replace the spells that you don't have, or make up your own, because those spells that I mentioned, Immolating Grasp, Moths to the Flame, Torchlight, those were all spells that I made up for my players, and then eventually became things. And that is how we create and do stuff. So finally, the adventure ends with the stats for Urrat, and then those rumors and whispers in the fire in order to set the whole scene and get the adventure going. But yeah, this is just a quick and dirty little adventure. It should play in about 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours, which is perfect for how I do my Wednesday night game every other week. And hopefully that is something that is beneficial to you as well and your players. I think it is a great way to get your wizard in that sense of becoming the fire wizard, the fire elementalist that they were meant to be. So yeah, hopefully that is something that you find interesting and useful. It'll be available on all of the platforms that I mentioned before. It'll ship out this coming week, picking up the printed copies on Tuesday, to all of my patrons. So here's your opportunity. Go become a member on Patreon right now at $6 and above, and it'll be mailed to you. At $4 and above, you'll get the PDF. And yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And I will talk to you all soon. Thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. This is Nick from Breaker Press Games, signing off.